Donald Trump, businessman, reality TV star, and 45th President of the United States. His rise to power and the tumultuous tenure that followed have reshaped American politics and culture in ways few could have predicted. From his unconventional campaign strategies to his controversial policies and enduring influence on the Republican Party, Trump's journey embodies both the promise and perils of modern politics. As we delve into this 100-hour guide, we explore the highs and lows of Trump's life and presidency, examining his impact on domestic policy, international relations, and the broader landscape of American democracy. Join us as we unravel the complex legacy of a figure whose name has become synonymous with both admiration and division in contemporary American history. Let's begin with Chapter 1, Early Life and Background. In Chapter 1, we delve into the formative years of Donald Trump, tracing his early life and background that shaped his trajectory as a businessman and later a political figure. Introduction to family and childhood. Donald Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York City, to Fred Trump and Mary Ann MacLeod Trump. His father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate developer, which provided Donald with exposure to the business world from a young age. Growing up in Queens, Trump was influenced by his father's work ethic and entrepreneurial spirit, laying the foundation for his future endeavors in real estate and beyond. Education and early career. Trump attended the New York Military Academy during his formative years, where he developed discipline and leadership skills that would later influence his approach to business and management. After graduating from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania in 1968, Trump joined his father's real estate company, Elizabeth Trump and Son. His early career involved learning the ropes of real estate development, property management, and dealing with tenants, providing him with practical experience that would shape his future ventures. Trump's early involvement in his father's business set the stage for his ambitious forays into Manhattan real estate and ultimately his global business empire. By exploring these foundational aspects of Trump's early life and career in Chapter 1, we gain insights into the influences and experiences that shaped his persona and career trajectory, setting the stage for his later achievements and controversies in business and politics. Chapter 2, Building the Trump Empire. In Chapter 2, we explore Donald Trump's pivotal role in expanding his business empire, focusing on his strategic real estate ventures and the diversification of the Trump brand during the 1980s. Real estate ventures. Donald Trump's entry into Manhattan's real estate market marked a significant turning point in his career. One of his earliest successes was the transformation of the Commodore Hotel into the Grand Hyatt in 1980, showcasing his knack for revitalizing properties to attract upscale clientele. However, Trump's most iconic project of this era was the construction of Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, completed in 1983. This gleaming skyscraper not only became Trump's signature property, but also symbolized his ambition and flair for luxury and extravagance in real estate development. Expanding the brand. During the 1980s, Trump diversified his business interests beyond real estate, leveraging the success of his Manhattan ventures to expand the Trump brand into other sectors. This period witnessed Trump's entry into the gaming industry with the acquisition of casinos in Atlantic City, New Jersey, including the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino and the Trump Taj Mahal Casino Resort. These ventures not only bolstered Trump's financial portfolio, but also enhanced his public persona as a high-stakes entrepreneur willing to take calculated risks. The growth of the Trump brand. Throughout the 1980s, Donald Trump meticulously cultivated his public image as a symbol of wealth, success, and extravagance. He utilized media attention and his flair for self-promotion to elevate the Trump brand into a global symbol of luxury and opulence. From luxury hotels and resorts to his renowned ownership of the Miss Universe pageant, Trump strategically positioned himself as a larger-than-life figure synonymous with wealth and achievement. This era not only solidified Trump's status as a prominent businessman, but also laid the groundwork for his eventual entry into the world of politics, where his brand recognition and business acumen would play pivotal roles. By delving into these key aspects of Trump's business expansion in Chapter 2, we uncovered the strategic decisions and developments that propelled him from a successful real estate developer to an internationally recognized entrepreneur and public figure. Chapter 3: Setbacks and Resilience. In Chapter 3, we delve into Donald Trump's journey through financial adversity and legal battles during the late 1980s and early 1990s, highlighting his resilience and strategic acumen in overcoming setbacks. Financial challenges. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, Donald Trump faced severe financial turmoil, experiencing near bankruptcies that threatened his business empire. The collapse of the real estate market, coupled with excessive leveraging and unsustainable debt from his ambitious ventures, pushed Trump to the brink of financial ruin. Despite these challenges, Trump employed a series of strategic maneuvers to stave off bankruptcy and salvage his financial standing. His negotiations with creditors, restructuring of debts, and asset sales were pivotal in averting total collapse and preserving his businesses. Business acumen. Trump's ability to navigate economic downturns and legal challenges underscored his resilience and business acumen during this turbulent period. He strategically utilized his brand recognition and negotiating skills to forge alliances, secure financial backing, and renegotiate debts. Trump's resilience was evident in his proactive approach to restructuring his businesses, streamlining operations, and focusing on core assets that remained viable. Moreover, his legal battles, including high-profile disputes and lawsuits, tested his resolve but also showcased his determination to protect his interests and reputation amidst adversity. By exploring these critical aspects in Chapter 3, we gain insights into Donald Trump's capacity to rebound from financial setbacks and legal challenges, demonstrating his resilience as a prominent entrepreneur and public figure. This period of adversity not only shaped Trump's approach to business management, but also informed his future decisions and strategies in navigating the complexities of the business world and beyond. Chapter 4: The Apprentice and Pop Culture Icon. In Chapter 4, we explore Donald Trump's transformative shift from a prominent real estate mogul to a ubiquitous television personality and enduring pop culture icon. Television success. The Apprentice marked a significant milestone in Donald Trump's career, catapulting him into the realm of television stardom and reshaping his public image. Launched in 2004, the reality TV show showcased Trump as the authoritative and decisive host, presiding over contestants vying for a coveted position in his business empire. The program not only captivated audiences with its competitive format and Trump's trademark catchphrase, "You're fired," but also provided a platform for him to showcase his business acumen and leadership style to millions of viewers weekly. The Apprentice not only bolstered Trump's celebrity status, but also solidified his persona as a shrewd businessman capable of making tough decisions under pressure. Cultural influence. Trump's transition from real estate mogul to TV personality through The Apprentice had a profound impact on American pop culture. Beyond his boardroom persona, Trump became a household name synonymous with wealth, success, and the American dream. His larger-than-life presence on television and media exposure allowed him to transcend the realms of business and enter into politics, entertainment, and even fashion. As a pop culture icon, Trump's influence extended beyond television ratings. He became a polarizing figure whose persona and style captured the imagination of audiences worldwide. His ability to leverage his television success into broader cultural relevance underscored his adaptive prowess and strategic vision in navigating the evolving landscape of fame and influence. By examining the intersection of The Apprentice and Trump's emergence as a pop culture icon in Chapter 4, we gain insights into how media platforms can redefine public perception and influence societal narratives. Trump's journey from real estate magnate to television personality exemplifies the power of media in shaping public image and the enduring impact of cultural resonance on personal and professional trajectories. Chapter 5. Political Aspirations and Early Forays. In Chapter 5, we delve into Donald Trump's early political ambitions and his initial steps into the political arena. This chapter provides a comprehensive look at Trump's sporadic interest in politics, his exploratory ventures into presidential runs, and his connections within both Democratic and Republican circles over the years. Early political interests. Donald Trump's interest in politics was not a sudden development, but rather a gradual evolution that spanned several decades. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Trump occasionally hinted at the possibility of running for public office. His public comments and interviews from this period reveal a keen awareness of political dynamics and a fascination with the idea of influencing national policy. Trump's flirtations with presidential runs were often met with skepticism, viewed more as publicity stunts than serious political endeavors. However, these early inklings of political ambition laid the groundwork for his eventual full-scale entry into politics. One of Trump's notable early political forays was in 2000 when he briefly explored a presidential run as a candidate for the Reform Party. Although this campaign was short-lived, it showcased Trump's ability to generate media attention and stirred public interest in his political views. His platform during this time focused on reforming trade policies, a precursor to the economic nationalism that would later define his successful 2016 presidential campaign. This early attempt also underscored Trump's capacity to harness his celebrity status for political purposes, a strategy that would become a hallmark of his political career. Political connections. Over the years, Donald Trump cultivated relationships within both major political parties in the United States. In the 1980s and 1990s, Trump was known for his contributions to Democratic candidates and his friendships with prominent Democratic figures, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. His ties to the Democratic Party were primarily driven by his business interests and the political landscape of New York, where he sought to maintain favorable relations with influential politicians. Despite his early Democratic affiliations, Trump also maintained connections with Republican circles. His pragmatic approach to politics saw him switch allegiances based on prevailing political winds and strategic advantages. This dual-party engagement allowed Trump to navigate various political environments and build a network of influential allies across the spectrum. By the early 2000s, Trump had begun to align more closely with Republican ideologies, particularly on issues like taxes and trade. Trump's ability to straddle both political worlds demonstrated his adaptability and strategic thinking. His relationships with politicians from both parties gave him a unique perspective on the American political system and positioned him as an outsider with insider knowledge. These connections and his understanding of political dynamics played a crucial role in his eventual decision to run for president as a Republican. In Chapter 5, we explore how Trump's early political interests and affiliations with both Democratic and Republican circles set the stage for his later political career. By examining his exploratory campaigns and strategic alliances, we gain insight into the factors that influenced his political trajectory and the groundwork that paved the way for his historic 2016 presidential campaign. This chapter highlights the complexity of Trump's political journey and his ability to navigate the intricate landscape of American politics. Chapter 6. Presidential Campaign 2016. As we embark on Chapter 6, we delve into one of the most pivotal and transformative periods in Donald Trump's life, his 2016 presidential campaign. This chapter explores the strategic decisions, primary battles, and key moments that defined his journey from a business magnate and reality TV star to the President of the United States. We will begin by examining Trump's initial decision to run for president and the reception it received, followed by a detailed analysis of his strategy and victories in the Republican primaries, highlighting the key opponents and challenges he faced along the way. Entry into politics. Donald Trump's decision to run for president in 2016 marked a significant turning point in American political history. On June 16, 2015, Trump announced his candidacy from Trump Tower in New York City, delivering a speech that immediately set the tone for his unconventional campaign. Promising to make America great again, Trump touched on themes of economic nationalism, immigration reform, and a strong stance against political corruption. His announcement was met with a mix of skepticism and intrigue, as many pundits and political analysts doubted the seriousness of his bid and dismissed it as another publicity stunt. Despite the initial skepticism, Trump's message resonated with a substantial segment of the American electorate. His unfiltered rhetoric and outsider status appealed to voters who were disillusioned with the political establishment and seeking a candidate who could disrupt the status quo. Trump's use of social media, particularly Twitter, allowed him to bypass traditional media channels and directly communicate with his supporters, a strategy that proved to be highly effective in building his base and generating continuous media coverage. Primary battles. Trump's strategy in the Republican primaries was characterized by a blend of bold messaging, relentless campaigning, and an ability to capitalize on his opponent's weaknesses. He quickly emerged as a frontrunner in a crowded field of 17 Republican candidates, which included established politicians such as Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio. Trump's ability to dominate media coverage, coupled with his skill in crafting memorable soundbites and leveraging his celebrity status, set him apart from his competitors. One of the key moments in the primary battles was the South Carolina primary, where Trump secured a decisive victory that solidified his position as the leading candidate. This victory was particularly significant because South Carolina was seen as a stronghold for more traditional Republican candidates. Trump's win demonstrated his broad appeal across different segments of the Republican electorate and his ability to challenge the party's establishment. Throughout the primary season, Trump faced numerous challenges, including fierce attacks from his opponents and skepticism from within the Republican Party. Despite this, he maintained a consistent message focused on economic revival, strong borders, and a return to American greatness. His slogan, "Make America Great Again," became a rallying cry for his supporters, encapsulating their desire for change and a new direction for the country. Trump's approach to the debates also played a crucial role in his success. He often dominated the stage with his commanding presence and ability to deflect attacks while keeping the spotlight on his key issues. His confrontational style and willingness to challenge conventional norms resonated with voters who were tired of traditional political discourse and eager for a more direct and assertive leadership style. In this chapter, we will explore how Trump's strategic decisions, media savvy, and ability to connect with a disenchanted electorate propelled him to the Republican nomination. By examining the dynamics of the primary battles, we gain insight into the factors that contributed to his unexpected rise and eventual victory. This chapter highlights the complexities of Trump's campaign and the significant impact it had on reshaping the American political landscape, setting the stage for the general election and his eventual presidency. Chapter 7. Election Victory and Transition. As we move into Chapter 7, we will explore the culmination of Donald Trump's unprecedented campaign and his transition to the presidency. This chapter covers the dynamics of his general election campaign against Hillary Clinton, the key issues and controversies that defined the race, and the reactions to his surprising victory on election night. This narrative will provide a comprehensive understanding of how Trump navigated the final stretch of his journey to the White House and the initial steps he took as president-elect. General Election Campaign. The general election campaign between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton was one of the most contentious and polarizing in modern American history. Following his unexpected rise to the Republican nomination, Trump faced off against Clinton, a seasoned politician with decades of experience, including roles as First Lady, U.S. Senator, and Secretary of State. The stark contrast between the two candidates in terms of style, experience, and policy positions set the stage for a deeply divided electorate. Trump's campaign strategy in the general election continued to focus on his core messages of economic revival, immigration reform, and a strong stance against political corruption. He positioned himself as the anti-establishment candidate, appealing to voters who felt left behind by globalization and disillusioned with the political status quo. His rallies drew massive crowds, and his unfiltered rhetoric, often controversial, kept him in the media spotlight. Key issues that dominated the campaign included the economy, national security, and healthcare. Trump's promises to renegotiate trade deals, repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, and secure the borders resonated with many voters. However, the campaign was also marked by significant controversies, including allegations of sexual misconduct against Trump, his refusal to release his tax returns, and the ongoing investigation into Russian interference in the election. Hillary Clinton's campaign, on the other hand, emphasized her experience and readiness to lead. She advocated for progressive policies on healthcare, education, and climate change, and sought to build a broad coalition of voters, including minorities, women, and young people. Despite her extensive political background, Clinton faced significant challenges, including lingering questions about her use of a private email server while Secretary of State, and the perception of her as part of the political establishment that many voters were eager to reject. Election night. The culmination of the 2016 presidential campaign came on November 8, 2016, in an election night that stunned the world. Polls leading up to Election Day had largely favored Clinton, and many analysts and pundits predicted her victory. However, as the results started to come in, it became clear that Trump was performing better than expected in key battleground states. Trump's victories in states like Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania were pivotal. These wins, particularly in the so-called Rust Belt states, reflected his appeal to working-class voters who felt neglected by the political elite. His message of bringing jobs back to America and putting America first resonated deeply in these regions. As the night progressed, it became evident that Trump was on track to secure the necessary 270 electoral votes to win the presidency. His victory in traditionally Democratic-leaning states further underscored the seismic shift in the political landscape. By the early hours of November 9, Donald Trump had surpassed the electoral threshold, and Hillary Clinton conceded the race. The reaction to Trump's victory was swift and varied. For his supporters, it was a triumphant moment that signified a rejection of the political establishment and a new direction for the country. For many others, both domestically and internationally, the result was met with shock and concern. The unexpected outcome highlighted the deep divisions within American society and raised questions about the future of U.S. politics and governance. Transition to presidency. Following his election victory, Trump began the transition process to prepare for his inauguration on January 20, 2017. This period involved assembling a team of advisors, selecting cabinet members, and outlining the priorities for his administration. Trump's choices for key positions reflected his campaign promises to shake up the status quo, with several appointees coming from outside the traditional political sphere. The transition also included meetings with outgoing President Barack Obama and other key figures to ensure a smooth transfer of power. Despite the contentious nature of the campaign, both Trump and Obama emphasized the importance of a peaceful and orderly transition, a hallmark of American democracy. In this chapter, we will delve into the intricacies of the general election campaign, the dramatic events of election night, and the early steps Trump took to shape his administration. By examining these elements, we gain insight into the factors that led to Trump's historic victory and the immediate challenges he faced as he prepared to assume the highest office in the land. This period marked the beginning of a new era in American politics, one that would continue to be defined by the themes and divisions highlighted during the 2016 campaign. Chapter 8. The Trump Presidency. Policies and Challenges. In this chapter, we delve into the complexities and significant moments of Donald Trump's presidency, focusing on the early days in office, his initial policy priorities, and his legislative agenda, including both successes and failures. As we examine these aspects, we'll gain a comprehensive understanding of the challenges and triumphs that defined his time in the White House. This period marked a continuation of the disruptive, transformative style that characterized Trump's rise to power, setting the stage for significant political and social debates. Early days in office. Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20, 2017 was a momentous event that signaled the start of a new era in American politics. In his inaugural address, Trump emphasized themes of nationalism and populism, promising to transfer power from Washington, D.C., back to the people. His speech included the now famous Declaration of America First, which would become a central tenet of his administration's policy approach. From the outset, Trump moved quickly to fulfill key campaign promises and set the tone for his presidency. Within the first week, he signed a series of executive orders aimed at reversing policies from the Obama administration and implementing his own priorities. One of the most notable early actions was the order to initiate the construction of a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, a project that had been a cornerstone of his campaign. This executive order also included measures to increase border security and tighten immigration enforcement. Another significant move was the withdrawal of the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, a major trade agreement negotiated by the Obama administration. Trump had criticized the TPP during his campaign, arguing that it would harm American workers and industries. By withdrawing from the agreement, he aimed to prioritize bilateral trade deals that he believed would better serve American interests. The early days of Trump's presidency were marked by a flurry of activity and controversy. His executive order banning travel from several predominantly Muslim countries sparked widespread protests and legal challenges, eventually leading to revisions and a protracted battle in the courts. This travel ban highlighted the administration's focus on national security and immigration control, but also underscored the deep divisions within the country over these issues. Legislative agenda. As Trump transitioned from executive actions to legislative priorities, his administration faced both opportunities and challenges. One of the most significant achievements of his presidency was the passage of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in December 2017. This landmark legislation represented the most substantial overhaul of the U.S. tax code in decades, reducing the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21% and providing tax cuts for individuals. Proponents argued that the tax cuts would spur economic growth and increase investment, while critics contended that they disproportionately benefited the wealthy and increased the national deficit. Healthcare reform was another major focus of Trump's legislative agenda. He campaigned on the promise to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, ACA, also known as Obamacare. However, efforts to dismantle the ACA proved to be a significant challenge, despite multiple attempts, including a dramatic vote in the Senate that saw Senator John McCain cast a decisive no vote. The administration was unable to fully repeal the law. This failure highlighted the complexities of healthcare policy and the difficulties of achieving consensus within a divided Congress. Trump's administration also pursued deregulation as a key policy goal, aiming to reduce what they viewed as burdensome regulations on businesses and industries. This included rolling back environmental protections, financial regulations, and other rules implemented by previous administrations. Supporters of deregulation argued that it would enhance economic growth and job creation, while opponents raised concerns about environmental degradation and consumer protections. Foreign policy was another area where Trump sought to implement significant changes. His administration took a more confrontational approach toward traditional allies and adversaries alike. This included withdrawing from the Paris Agreement on climate change, renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, into the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, and engaging in a trade war with China. These actions reflected Trump's focus on renegotiating international agreements to prioritize American interests, but also led to tensions and uncertainties in global relations. Throughout his presidency, Trump faced numerous challenges and controversies. His unconventional style and combative rhetoric often sparked intense reactions and polarized opinions. The investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election, led by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, cast a long shadow over his administration. Although the investigation concluded without finding sufficient evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, it highlighted concerns about foreign influence and the integrity of the electoral process. As we explore these elements of Trump's presidency, we will gain a deeper understanding of the policies and challenges that defined his time in office. This chapter will provide insights into the successes and setbacks of his legislative agenda, the impact of his early actions, and the broader implications of his approach to governance. Through this analysis, we aim to capture the complexities and nuances of a presidency that continues to shape the political landscape and public discourse in the United States. Chapter 9: Foreign Relations and Security Issues. In this chapter, we will delve into the intricacies of Donald Trump's foreign relations and national security strategies during his presidency. This period was marked by significant shifts in international diplomacy and responses to various security threats, both domestic and international. By analyzing Trump's approach to foreign policy and his handling of national security challenges, we aim to provide a comprehensive understanding of the complexities and controversies that characterized this aspect of his presidency. International diplomacy. Donald Trump's foreign policy was characterized by a blend of unconventional tactics and a focus on America first, which often led to strained relationships with traditional allies and unpredictable engagements with adversaries. One of the cornerstones of his approach was a reevaluation of the United States' role in international alliances, particularly NATO. Trump frequently criticized NATO member countries for not meeting their defense spending commitments, arguing that the U.S. was shouldering an unfair burden. This criticism created tension within the alliance, with European leaders expressing concerns about the U.S. commitment to collective defense. Trump's relationship with Russia was one of the most controversial aspects of his foreign policy. Despite the backdrop of ongoing investigations into Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election, Trump sought to improve relations with Russian President Vladimir Putin. His administration pursued various avenues for cooperation, including arms control negotiations and counterterrorism efforts. However, these attempts were often overshadowed by domestic political controversies and suspicions of undue Russian influence. In contrast, Trump's approach to China was markedly confrontational. He initiated a trade war with China, imposing tariffs on Chinese goods in an effort to address trade imbalances and alleged unfair trade practices. This economic conflict had significant repercussions for global markets and strained U.S.-China relations. Additionally, Trump's administration took a firm stance on issues such as China's human rights abuses, particularly concerning the Uyghur Muslim minority, and the suppression of pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. These actions further heightened tensions between the two superpowers. National security challenges. Throughout his presidency, Trump faced numerous national security challenges, requiring decisive action and strategic planning. One of the most pressing issues was North Korea's nuclear ambitions. Trump's approach to North Korea was a blend of aggressive rhetoric and unprecedented diplomacy. In 2017, he engaged in a war of words with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, which escalated fears of potential military conflict. However, in a dramatic shift, Trump later pursued direct negotiations with Kim, resulting in historic summits in Singapore and Vietnam. While these meetings were groundbreaking, they did not lead to a definitive agreement on denuclearization, leaving the North Korean threat unresolved. Iran also posed a significant challenge for Trump's national security strategy. In 2018, he withdrew the United States from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. JCPOA, commonly known as the Iran nuclear deal, arguing that it was insufficient in preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Following the withdrawal, his administration implemented a maximum pressure campaign consisting of stringent economic sanctions aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions and its influence in the Middle East. This approach heightened tensions between the two nations and culminated in the targeted killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in January 2020, which brought the US and Iran to the brink of war. Domestically, Trump faced the growing threat of terrorism, both from international and homegrown sources. His administration implemented a travel ban on several predominantly Muslim countries, citing national security concerns. This policy was highly controversial and faced numerous legal challenges, but it underscored Trump's focus on tightening immigration controls to prevent potential terrorist threats. In addition to international terrorism, Trump had to address the rise of domestic terrorism incidents, often linked to far-right extremism. High-profile attacks, such as the mass shootings in El Paso, Texas, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, prompted debates about gun control, white supremacy, and the role of inflammatory political rhetoric. Trump's responses to these incidents were frequently scrutinized, with critics accusing him of failing to adequately condemn white nationalist violence. As we explore these facets of Trump's foreign relations and national security policies, we will gain a deeper understanding of the strategies and decisions that defined his presidency. This chapter will highlight the complexities and challenges of navigating international diplomacy and ensuring national security in an increasingly interconnected and volatile world. Through this analysis, we aim to provide a nuanced perspective on the successes, controversies, and long-term implications of Trump's approach to these critical issues. Chapter 10: Impeachment and Legal Challenges. In this chapter, we will explore the tumultuous period of Donald Trump's presidency that involved impeachment proceedings and various legal challenges. This era was marked by intense political drama, legal scrutiny, and significant controversy, shaping the latter part of Trump's tenure in office and leaving a lasting impact on American political discourse. We will begin by delving into the details of the impeachment proceedings related to Ukraine and obstruction of justice, followed by an examination of the numerous legal battles Trump faced, including lawsuits and investigations into his business practices and taxes. Impeachment proceedings. The impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump were rooted in a series of events that began with a whistleblower complaint in August 2019. The complaint alleged that Trump had solicited foreign interference in the 2020 U.S. presidential election by pressuring Ukraine to investigate his political rival, Joe Biden, and his son, Hunter Biden. According to the whistleblower, Trump had conditioned military aid to Ukraine on the announcement of such an investigation, a claim that sparked a formal inquiry by the House of Representatives. The House Intelligence Committee, led by Chairman Adam Schiff, conducted a series of public and private hearings to gather evidence and testimonies. Key witnesses, including U.S. Ambassador to the European Union Gordon Sondland and former National Security Council official Theo Mahill, provided testimony that supported the allegations of a quid pro quo arrangement. On December 18, 2019, the House voted to impeach Trump on 2 articles: abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The abuse of power charge centered on Trump's alleged efforts to solicit foreign interference for personal political gain, while the obstruction charge related to his refusal to cooperate with the congressional investigation. The impeachment trial moved to the Senate in January 2020, where Republicans held the majority. The trial was marked by partisan divisions, with Republicans largely defending Trump and Democrats advocating for his removal from office. After a brief trial that included opening arguments and a limited number of witness testimonies, the Senate voted on February 5, 2020. Trump was acquitted on both articles of impeachment, with the vote largely following party lines. This outcome highlighted the deep political polarization in the country and set a significant precedent for future impeachment proceedings. Legal battles. In addition to the impeachment proceedings, Trump faced numerous legal challenges throughout his presidency. These legal battles encompassed a wide range of issues, from his business practices to personal conduct and tax matters. One of the most high-profile investigations was conducted by special counsel Robert Mueller, who was appointed to investigate Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and potential collusion between the Trump campaign and Russian officials. The Mueller investigation, which lasted from May 2017 to March 2019, resulted in a detailed report that outlined numerous contacts between the Trump campaign and Russian operatives. While the report did not establish a criminal conspiracy between Trump and Russia, it did document several instances of potential obstruction of justice by Trump. Mueller's findings fueled further calls for accountability and contributed to the broader legal scrutiny of Trump's actions. Trump's business practices also came under significant legal examination. The New York Attorney General and Manhattan District Attorney launched investigations into the Trump Organization, probing allegations of financial misconduct, tax fraud, and insurance fraud. These investigations sought to determine whether Trump and his company had engaged in illegal practices to inflate the value of assets for loan purposes while deflating them for tax benefits. In February 2021, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Trump's tax returns could be released to Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr., paving the way for further investigation into his financial dealings. Another major legal challenge Trump faced was related to allegations of sexual misconduct. Throughout his presidency, numerous women accused Trump of sexual harassment and assault, with some cases leading to lawsuits. One notable case involved writer E. Jean Carroll, who accused Trump of raping her in the mid-1990s. Trump denied the allegations, leading Carroll to file a defamation lawsuit against him. The case attracted significant media attention and added to the ongoing legal pressures Trump faced. As we explore these facets of Trump's presidency, we will gain a deeper understanding of the complexities and controversies that defined his time in office. This chapter will highlight the legal and political battles that tested the resilience of American democratic institutions and underscored the contentious nature of Trump's leadership. Through this analysis, we aim to provide a nuanced perspective on the impact of these challenges on Trump's presidency and their broader implications for the future of American politics. Chapter 11: COVID-19 Pandemic and Economic Response. In this chapter, we delve into one of the most challenging periods of Donald Trump's presidency, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the economic upheaval that accompanied it. This global health crisis, which began in early 2020, tested the resilience of governments worldwide and had profound impacts on public health, economies, and societies. We will explore how Trump's administration responded to the public health crisis and the economic measures taken to mitigate the pandemic's fallout. This chapter will provide an in-depth look at the key decisions, controversies, and outcomes of this critical period. Public health crisis. The COVID-19 pandemic emerged as a significant public health crisis in the United States in early 2020. Initially, the virus seemed a distant threat, but it quickly became evident that it would have far-reaching impacts. Trump's handling of the pandemic was characterized by a series of policy decisions and public health responses that were both lauded and criticized. Early on, Trump implemented travel restrictions from China in an attempt to curb the virus's spread. However, as the virus began to spread within the U.S., the administration faced criticism for its initial response, which some deemed slow and inadequate. Trump's public statements about the virus often downplayed its severity, which led to mixed messaging and confusion among the public. Despite recommendations from health experts, Trump frequently expressed optimism that the virus would disappear on its own. This approach was contrasted by the actions of public health officials, such as Dr. Anthony Fauci, who emphasized the need for stringent measures to control the virus's spread. The administration's response included the formation of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, increased testing capacities, and the promotion of social distancing and mask-wearing guidelines, though adherence to these guidelines was inconsistent. As the pandemic progressed, Trump faced criticism for his handling of personal protective equipment, PPE, shortages, the rollout of testing, and the coordination with state and local governments. The pandemic also became highly politicized, with debates over lockdowns, mask mandates, and reopening strategies reflecting broader political divides. Despite these challenges, the rapid development and distribution of vaccines through Operation Warp Speed by the end of 2020 marked a significant achievement, offering hope for controlling the pandemic. Economic impact. The economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic was swift and severe, leading to one of the most significant economic downturns in recent history. As businesses closed and stay-at-home orders were implemented to curb the virus's spread, unemployment rates soared, and millions of Americans faced financial hardship. The stock market experienced dramatic fluctuations, and many industries, particularly hospitality and travel, suffered substantial losses. In response to the economic crisis, the Trump administration and Congress enacted several stimulus measures aimed at providing relief to individuals and businesses. The CARES Act, passed in March 2020, was a landmark piece of legislation that included direct payments to Americans, expanded unemployment benefits, and financial support for small businesses through the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP. These measures aimed to stabilize the economy and provide a safety net for those affected by the pandemic. Despite these efforts, the economic recovery was uneven, with disparities in how different communities and sectors were impacted. While the stimulus measures provided temporary relief, long-term economic challenges remained, including addressing the needs of those who lost their jobs or faced reduced income. The pandemic also highlighted pre-existing inequalities in the U.S., with marginalized communities bearing a disproportionate burden of both the health and economic impacts. Trump's approach to the economic response included efforts to reopen the economy as quickly as possible, arguing that prolonged lockdowns would cause more harm than good. This stance was controversial, as it often conflicted with public health experts' advice. The administration's push for reopening was seen as a way to revive the economy, but it also raised concerns about potentially exacerbating the public health crisis. As we examine Trump's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic response, we gain insights into the complexities and challenges of managing a crisis of this magnitude. This chapter provides a comprehensive overview of the decisions, policies, and outcomes that defined this period, offering a nuanced understanding of the impact on public health and the economy. Through this exploration, we aim to capture the multifaceted nature of the pandemic's effects and the responses that shaped the course of the crisis. Chapter 12. Re-election Campaign 2020. In Chapter 12, we delve into Donald Trump's bid for a second term as President of the United States, a campaign marked by significant strategies, fierce debates, and key issues that shaped the 2020 election landscape. We will explore the dynamics of Trump's campaign against Joe Biden, the tactics employed by both sides, and the controversies that arose during this contentious period. This chapter will also provide an analysis of the 2020 election outcome, the legal challenges that followed, and the post-election controversies that continued to dominate the political discourse. Second-term bid. As Trump embarked on his re-election campaign, he faced a vastly different political landscape compared to 2016. The 2020 election was significantly influenced by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, which had profound effects on the nation's public health and economy. Trump's handling of the pandemic became a central issue in the campaign, with critics arguing that his administration's response was inadequate, while supporters praised his efforts to expedite vaccine development and maintain economic stability. The campaign strategies of both Trump and his opponent, Joe Biden, reflected the unique circumstances of the time. Trump's campaign focused on themes of economic recovery, law and order, and opposition to what he characterized as radical left policies. He held numerous rallies, despite concerns about COVID-19, and utilized social media to mobilize his base and spread his message. The slogan, "Keep America Great," encapsulated his campaign's emphasis on continuing the policies and achievements of his first term. In contrast, Biden's campaign prioritized a return to normalcy, effective pandemic management, and unifying the country. Biden adopted a more cautious approach, with limited in-person events and a greater reliance on virtual campaigning. His messaging centered around addressing systemic inequalities, expanding healthcare, and rebuilding the economy in a way that benefits all Americans. The stark differences in campaign strategies highlighted the contrasting visions for the future presented by each candidate. The debates between Trump and Biden were highly anticipated and contentious, reflecting the polarized state of American politics. Issues such as healthcare, the economy, racial justice, and climate change were hotly debated, with each candidate presenting their policies and criticizing their opponent's record. These debates were crucial in shaping public perception and solidifying voter preferences. Election results. The outcome of the 2020 election was closely watched and highly contested. On election night, initial results showed a tight race, with many key battleground states too close to call. As mail-in ballots were counted in the following days, Joe Biden emerged as the projected winner, securing enough electoral votes to claim victory. Trump's refusal to concede and allegations of widespread voter fraud led to numerous legal challenges and recounts in several states. Trump's legal team filed multiple lawsuits, seeking to overturn the results in key states. These legal battles were marked by claims of irregularities and misconduct, though most were dismissed due to a lack of evidence. Despite these efforts, the results were eventually certified, confirming Biden's victory. The controversy surrounding the election outcome culminated in the storming of the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, by Trump supporters attempting to disrupt the certification of the Electoral College results. The post-election period was characterized by intense political divisions and debates over the integrity of the electoral process. Trump's persistent claims of a stolen election fueled ongoing disputes and contributed to a broader conversation about election security and democratic norms. The transition of power was ultimately completed with Biden's inauguration on January 20, 2021, but the events of the 2020 election left a lasting impact on the nation's political landscape. This chapter provides a comprehensive overview of the 2020 re-election campaign, offering insights into the strategies, debates, and controversies that define this critical period. By examining the key moments and outcomes, we gain a deeper understanding of the complexities and challenges of the 2020 election and its implications for the future of American democracy. Chapter 13: Post-Presidency and Legacy. In Chapter 13, we explore the post-presidential life of Donald Trump, his continued influence within the Republican Party, and the broader assessment of his presidency on politics, policy, and American society. This chapter delves into the transition out of office, Trump's activities following his presidency, and the long-term implications of his leadership. Transition out of office. The transition out of office for Donald Trump was unlike any in recent American history. Following the 2020 election, Trump's refusal to concede and the subsequent Capitol insurrection on January 6, 2021, marked a tumultuous end to his presidency. Despite these events, Trump left the White House on January 20, 2021, without attending the inauguration of his successor, Joe Biden, breaking a long-standing tradition of peaceful transfer of power. In the immediate aftermath of his presidency, Trump retreated to his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. His post-presidential activities included issuing public statements, endorsing Republican candidates, and participating in political rallies. Trump continued to assert his influence within the Republican Party, shaping its direction and endorsing candidates who aligned with his vision and policies. His influence was particularly evident in primary elections, where his endorsements often swayed the outcomes. Trump also faced several legal challenges and investigations related to his business practices and actions during his presidency. These legal battles, coupled with ongoing political engagements, kept him in the public eye and maintained his relevance in American politics. Despite being banned from major social media platforms following the Capitol riot, Trump utilized alternative means to communicate with his supporters, including launching his own platform, Truth Social. Legacy and impact. Assessing the legacy of Donald Trump's presidency involves examining his impact on various aspects of American politics and society. Trump's presidency was marked by significant policy changes, contentious rhetoric, and a deeply polarized nation. His administration's achievements included tax reform, deregulation, and judicial appointments, notably 3 Supreme Court justices who shifted the court's ideological balance. Trump's approach to foreign policy, characterized by an America First stance, led to significant shifts in international relations. He renegotiated trade deals, withdrew from multilateral agreements, and pursued direct diplomacy with leaders such as North Korea's Kim Jong-un. These actions redefined America's role on the global stage, with mixed reactions from allies and adversaries. Domestically, Trump's tenure saw heightened political polarization and social unrest. His rhetoric and policies on immigration, race, and law enforcement sparked nationwide protests and debates. The administration's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, marked by initial downplaying of the virus and subsequent efforts to expedite vaccine development, had profound effects on public health and the economy. The long-term implications of Trump's leadership extend beyond his time in office. His influence reshaped the Republican Party, creating a faction loyal to his ideals and methods. This shift has implications for future elections and the party's policy priorities. Trump's presidency also prompted discussions about democratic norms, media relations, and the balance of power in government. In assessing Trump's legacy, it is crucial to consider both his achievements and controversies. His impact on the judiciary, regulatory landscape, and international relations will be felt for years to come. Simultaneously, the social and political divisions exacerbated during his presidency pose ongoing challenges for national unity and democratic governance. This chapter provides a comprehensive exploration of Trump's post-presidency activities and the enduring effects of his time in office. By examining the transition out of the White House, Trump's continued political influence, and the broader assessment of his legacy, we gain a deeper understanding of the complexities and consequences of his leadership in American history. Chapter 14. The Future of Trumpism. In Chapter 14, we delve into the evolving landscape of Trumpism, examining Donald Trump's enduring influence on the Republican Party and conservative politics, as well as the potential trajectories for his political future. Political movement. Trumpism represents more than just Donald Trump's presidency. It encapsulates a political movement characterized by populism, nationalism, and a confrontational approach to governance. Throughout his presidency and beyond, Trump reshaped the Republican Party, challenging traditional conservative norms and policies. His unapologetic stance on issues such as immigration, trade, and America's role in global affairs resonated with a significant segment of the electorate, transforming the party's agenda and identity. Since leaving office, Trump has continued to exert considerable influence within the Republican Party. His endorsements in primary elections often determine the direction of Republican candidates, reflecting his ongoing role as a kingmaker within the party. Trump's loyal base of supporters remains a potent force in American politics, rallying around his policies and persona. This grassroots support has solidified Trump's position as a central figure in conservative circles, despite facing criticism and challenges from within the party establishment. Trumpism's impact extends beyond electoral politics, shaping policy debates and ideological divisions within the conservative movement. His brand of populism has sparked debates on issues like trade protectionism, immigration reform, and social conservatism, influencing the party's platform and legislative priorities. The movement's emphasis on economic nationalism and skepticism of international agreements continues to resonate with voters disillusioned by establishment politics. Prospects for the future. Looking ahead, speculation surrounds Donald Trump's potential political future and the lasting impact of Trumpism on upcoming elections. As a former president, Trump retains a significant platform to influence national discourse and shape the Republican Party's direction. His frequent public appearances, endorsements, and statements on current events keep him prominently in the public eye and maintain his relevance in political discussions. The future of Trumpism hinges on several factors, including Trump's personal ambitions, legal challenges, and the dynamics of future Republican primaries. While speculation persists about a potential third presidential run in 2024 or his support for another candidate, Trump's role in shaping the party's future remains pivotal. His ability to mobilize supporters and fundraise has positioned him as a key player in conservative politics, with implications for both national and state-level elections. Beyond electoral politics, Trumpism's legacy may influence broader societal trends and partisan divisions in the United States. The movement's emphasis on nationalism and anti-establishment rhetoric has resonated with segments of the electorate disillusioned with traditional political elites. Whether Trumpism evolves into a long-term ideological framework or remains closely tied to Donald Trump's leadership style remains a subject of ongoing debate among political analysts and historians. In conclusion, Chapter 14 explores the multifaceted nature of Trumpism, examining its impact on the Republican Party, the prospects for Donald Trump's political future, and the movement's broader implications for American politics. By analyzing Trump's ongoing influence, the evolution of conservative ideology, and the potential electoral strategies moving forward, we gain insights into the enduring legacy of Trumpism in shaping the political landscape of the United States. In the concluding chapter of this 100-hour guide, we reflect on the multifaceted legacy of Donald Trump, spanning his life, career, and profound impact on American politics and culture. Donald Trump's journey from real estate mogul to reality TV star to President of the United States has been nothing short of extraordinary. Throughout his career, Trump has defied conventional wisdom, reshaping the political landscape with his unorthodox style and populist rhetoric. His election in 2016 marked a seismic shift in American politics, reflecting deep-seated frustrations and divisions within the electorate. Trump's presidency was marked by controversy, from his confrontational approach to international diplomacy to his ambitious domestic agenda. His policies on immigration, trade, and healthcare sparked intense debate and polarized public opinion. Supporters praised his efforts to revitalize American industry and renegotiate trade deals, while critics condemned his handling of issues such as climate change and racial tensions. Beyond policy, Trump's impact on American culture cannot be overstated. As a media personality and businessman, Trump leveraged his celebrity status to capture the public's attention and influence popular discourse. His outspoken demeanor and mastery of social media redefined political communication in the digital age, bypassing traditional media channels to directly engage with his base and adversaries alike. The legacy of Donald Trump extends far beyond his presidency. His political movement, known as Trumpism, continues to shape the Republican Party's identity and agenda. Trump's loyal base remains a potent force in American politics, influencing elections and policy debates at all levels of government. His unapologetic nationalism and critique of globalization have left an indelible mark on conservative ideology, challenging established norms within the party and prompting soul-searching among its leadership. Looking ahead, the enduring impact of Trump's presidency will be debated for years to come. Historians will analyze his policies, leadership style, and the societal divisions exacerbated during his tenure. The lessons learned from the Trump era will inform future political strategies and governance, shaping the contours of American democracy in the 21st century. In conclusion, Donald Trump's life and career represent a complex tapestry of success, controversy, and influence. His ascent to the presidency and subsequent impact on American politics underscore the dynamic nature of democracy and the power of individual leadership. Whether viewed as a disruptor or a champion of change, Trump's legacy is undeniably intertwined with the ongoing evolution of American society and its political institutions.